Now we're live.
And that's the secret to eternal life.
It's amazing, really, isn't it? Calpol, who'd have thought?
It's simple when you think about it.
Hello, hello, and welcome to the first 16 Symbols rewrite stream. I've just realised that says Saturday. Don't worry about it. We have not regained Saturday. It is still Sunday. Yeah, we're here to discuss the story that we wrote for 8 months, without checking where the story was going by design, and gonna try and work out what we can do by actually knowing where it is going and thinking about it and connecting things together. Or we're gonna doodle for 2 hours and not make any progress. That's entirely possible as well. So, yeah, let's hop on over to here. Here we are. We have a bunch of friends.
Hey, friends.
Friends.
We're all here.
Friends with varying degrees of memory regarding this story, ranging from some people who remember a lot of it and some people, like me, who've forgotten most of it.
Some people who just remember the memes.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, the characters that had the most personality were the ones that we've reduced to memes, so...
Yeah.
Survival of the memeiest.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It happens. So, I have no idea how to start this. Do we start with a recap? I don't know how long the recap's going to go on for.
I think if we start recapping it before we try to do anything, we'll be here for the next 2 hours.
That's fair. How about this? We'll start with, if there's one thing you could change in the story, what would it be?
How much of it I could remember.
Well,
That's fair.
there's one thing...
You'd like to remember none of it.
There's a lot of things where it's like there's so much that needs to get done to rework it, but there is one thing in particular that I was thinking of where it's like, okay, all of these parts make sense, we just need them in a different order.
Ooh.
And that mostly has to do with Bramble
Oh, yeah.
and the Jerboa outpost, because I believe the order of events with the Jerboa outpost was we get to the outpost, it's immediately under attack, then we meet the locals there and then have another boss fight, and actually after the boss fight that we meet people and then we leave, and then in the next column I think one of the Jerboa's Bramble joins our party.
Yeah,
I think that's in the wrong order.
Yeah, the family follows us around for a bit because there's a soothsayer one who says, "Oh, these people are important. We should follow them." Inexplicably, and then we got the symbol saying, "Hey, somebody joins your party," after we've already had them following us for a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that needs to be reordered. I think we need to get to the outpost, meet some of the individuals, learn some plot stuff about, hey, weird things are happening. Then we have the giant seahorse monster attack. Then we do cleanup. Then we do the boss fight with Viv. Yeah, Viv.
I always,
Viv shrimpiness.
as I was doing my write-up, I kept getting confused between Viv and Vive. So
And somewhere along that process, possibly either before, during, or directly after the fight with Vive, that's when Bramble joins the party instead of a column later.
Yeah, so we tried to keep it so that we kept all of the symbols where they were. We didn't. We moved one, but generally speaking, we tried to keep it that way. Now we've got free reign. We can do what we want. Also, Lewis, feel free to be our audience insert in the form of, if nothing's making sense, say, "Hey, none of this is making sense. Explain."
I will choose a token phrase to show my lack of knowledge and go with that.
Cool.
I'll stay here as a sanity check. Also, Scarecrow has an E.
Scarecrow. That's
a Scarecrow.
That's a gangster film.
I'm a mathematician, not an English teacher. Don't mind me. We go out of our way to avoid writing out entire words.
Yeah, that is a thing.
Like if you look through any sort of maths paper, it's mostly going to essentially look like hieroglyphics.
Yeah, the further you go into maths, the less you use numbers.
Oh yeah, barely use numbers at all. In fact, I recently generalized something from my PhD thesis, and now it has no numbers in it, which is great.
Oh, even better.
It's now just a graph. It's amazing. Anyway, yes. So yeah, if anything's not making sense, feel free to say, I don't know what you're talking about.
Explain!
Yeah, I think giving Bramble anything is probably a priority. Because Bramble was there and just sort of continued to be there until I forgot that they were there and then stopped drawing them.
And they're the only one in the party that don't have anything going on.
Yeah, like the other characters have things that could be developed. Bramble has nothing. Bramble has a lizard that they ride, which is cool,
Yeah.
but that's it. You know, I even thought, oh, can we do a thing that when, like, you know, when the foom happens, Bramble's like, oh no, I don't have my steed anymore. What can I do? But then I remembered, no, actually, Bramble also wouldn't, you know, it loses their personality, so can't even do that.
Yeah, that is a bit of a problem when you've got the split between humanoid and other. Oh, there's another one I've forgotten.
Magical and
what was his
non-magical.
name? Foo. There we go.
Foo. Yeah, does Foo? I don't know what happens with Foo. They don't think he's a magical. He just happens to have 4 arms. That's just.
Yeah.
It just happens, you know, every now and then.
Sometimes arms help them.
So yeah, we have a rough rundown of the characters. We have Mo, the nurse. We have Brad, the baker. He definitely just wants to be a baker. Please just let him bake. Gil, the
Also
Also
mushroom.
the punching bag of the story.
Yes. Gil, the mushroom courier. Stoker, the stoker. Because I would say we're imaginative
Also
like
a
that.
child.
Also a child, yes. Literal child. Jethro, the scarecrow.
Goat?
Um,
That's a kid, not a child. Whoops.
there is a goat. Well, we did make a goat, didn't we? They were friends
Yeah.
with Schrodinger's cat.
We did.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah, there was a goat.
I can't remember why.
Because they were in the cave of weird things, of weird experiments.
Oh, right, okay. There's like a
I think-
sacrificial goat.
Yeah,
or
we got a
something
symbol of like we're meeting things in the cave, and it's like, who's in the cave?
like
I don't
Schrödinger.
know.
Yeah.
Make up some experiments.
Yeah, it's a cave, but it's a cave like beneath, next to a lab. So this is experiments of some kind. Makes sense.
So
Yeah.
there's just a goat.
Yeah. So there was just a goat. I think they were in a suit
I don't
because
remember,
it is
probably.
it is tradition in these fantasy draw-throughs that I'd have to draw something in a suit.
Yeah, that's fair.
It started with the ape from Forest of Doom.
Did it start there?
I think so. The one I gave a ponytail.
I mean,
No idea
that
why.
started in Final Fantasy.
A lot of characters had suits in Final Fantasy, but well, a lot of characters had ponytails. I guess. Oh yeah, yeah. It was with Leg, wasn't it? Who I gave him a ponytail, and Try was like, "You're giving every character a ponytail. Stop it."
You're like, don't you dare.
It happened. Who had a ponytail in this? Did anyone have a ponytail in this? I mean, Mo had a kind of like Brady thing going on.
Who might have, but I might be confusing his hairstyle with his giant ears.
Yeah, no, I think he's got a mohawk. So
Someone must have. I have the distinct memory of us commenting on the fact that you gave someone a ponytail for tradition's sake,
yeah,
but I don't remember who it is.
it was probably a robot, knowing me.
What? There are no robots here.
There are many robots. Ah. Okay, quick question.
They're
Which of those are eyes?
Yes.
Okay, good to know.
Good answer.
Oh, hang on, you can't see it on stream. There are
Probably
antennae and 4 eyes. Yeah, so Peridot, continuing the party. We have Peridot, who's a monk, who was at a shrine. That's another thing I think we should look into. Where did the rest of them go? We said they went somewhere, and we'll get back
They
to that.
fought
And
with Granny Bonk, right?
did they?
Yeah, that's where we like figured, oh, they can go there because, oops, we forgot.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, we did shove them in at the end.
Yeah.
Okay,
And they
well,
were
I
holding back
think
shrimp
that might
bottles.
be. I think that might be useful for like rewriting what the heck is going on during those final events,
yeah,
because I don't know, because yeah, we do have this thing where you've got these essentially monks and cultists and whatnot that are like, oh yes, praise be the hippo goddess, and then the hippo goddess is just this old lady who mostly just wants to be left alone or whatever is going on with
Wants
her,
to
and
do a
so it's like
hippo thing.
we
Wants
need
to
to sort of
wallow.
figure out. It's like, okay, is there like some like what is going on with these monks? Because at the start of it, we had this initial there was this sort of a thing of like, oh, this person has come through the portal, and it's like, oh, it's the prophesized whatever, you have the gift, and then we did nothing with that. So it's like we've got Brad's thing where he's got this pressure of being a hero, but Mo doesn't really have a similar thing of pressure of what's going on with her stuff until literally the last column.
yeah. She hasn't got pressure. She's kind of got the opposite in a sense. She's been given the power, but none of the responsibility.
Yeah, and that's a thing we need to figure out. Like, do we want that to be a thing building? Because it's just awkward to just have it there suddenly at the end.
Well, I guess that's maybe sort of the whole deal between her and Poison Nurse. Is Poison Nurse is like, why were you given all this power? You're not doing anything. You're not. You don't even know what it is. How are you so oblivious? You have the gift of the goddess, and you don't deserve it. That's that kind of thing. Whether or not we should develop that. I mean, we should develop basically everything, but whether we're going to have time to do that, I don't know. Yeah, we also have Bramble, who is a Jerboa, and that's all we know. We have Fu, who is a Resistance member who used to be adventuring partner of Brad's mum. Onion, who is a kleptomaniac robot, largely comic relief. Was there someone else? No, that was it. I thought it was someone else.
I think I remember Gregory or Grigori.
Gregory's good. Gregory is a good. So yeah, we have the goons, the hired goons, consisting of Bran, who is tired. Apparently, that is makes sense. The only competent member of either party, to be honest. You have Gregory, snake oil salesman, makes sense. Wick, the candle with a knife. Although I like the way that you spell candle, as if like it's a variation of cuddle.
Cuddle first.
Do not try and cuddle Wick.
Cuddle Wick.
Yeah, that's a bad idea. You're not going to end up with all your organs. And Gabe, who is a company robot, who instigates worldwide protest due to a misunderstanding of a joke.
You know.
That's fine. And we have,
usual.
and then we have Poison Nurse, who I don't think we ever named. They're just Poison Nurse.
Yeah.
Who is the villain of the piece.
Shall I try and find some obscure poison name that you can use into a name?
Could do. I mean, I like the idea. They would not be the only character in this.
I sort of like the idea that, sort of similar to Grigori, where it's like that's not actually your name, that's just your stage name, essentially. That instead of her being Poison Nurse for the majority of it, it's this like fancy sounding poison name, and then later on her name's just kind of like Sue or something.
I like the idea that she keeps introducing herself as a fancy poison name, but keeps forgetting the one that she introduced herself as last time. And so it's different every time. It's like, wait, no, was that? I didn't call
Wait.
myself that.
Yeah. I'm just imagining in like one of the like later moments when everything is going to shit and Gregory is angry at Poison Nurse and he just calls her by this very ordinary name. And that's
Wisteria.
his
That's a...
sister, and he's like
I guess it runs in
just
the. I guess it runs in the family. They want stage names. Is Schrodinger actually called Schrodinger? Who knows? I mean, that one I guess we'll never know. But
There's the
they
Calla
don't know anymore.
C-A-L-L-A.
Just Schrodinger now.
I'm not sure Schrodinger knows anything.
All he knows is that he has a box.
Oh, he lost the box. The box is in a mountain
no.
somewhere.
Oh.
And it may or may not have a cat in it.
Yeah, we're not sure.
Well, we don't know about that. All we know is that there is a box.
Yes.
Schrodinger's box. It's a lot easier to understand. Than
Yeah.
There is a box. That is Schrodinger's box. We understand that. There's a poisonous flower, the belladonna. Could call a nurse belladonna.
Belladonna's good.
Yeah.
The thing is, a lot of these are just obviously plant names, and plant names traditionally turn into people names.
There is
So-
a Calla lily. You could call them Lily Calla. C-A-L-L-A. You could use Lily as their first name and Calla as their surname.
But that would imply Grigori would also have that as a surname. So
Well,
you'd have to work this out.
I mean, he probably has got like 5 different names, so who knows?
Yeah, it depends on what tax authority you're a member of. Yes, NPCs. We have Grandma Bonk, who
excuse me.
we have Grandma Bonk. We have Grandma Bonk, as in hit.
Yeah.
I forget how that name is not
Yeah, yeah. She bonks you with a broom, thunk on the head.
Wait, Grandma Thunk or Grandma Bonk?
Bonk.
Ah.
She is, and she's also a hippo. Don't worry about it. We have Mrs. Baker, retired hero, mother of Brad Baker.
Hates bread.
She is a blacksmith.
Yeah, she's a blacksmith. I forgot she was a
okay.
blacksmith. There's a long line of
Not to
blacksmiths
be
and adventurers. But
Not
Brad
to
is.
be confused with Mr. Ironforge the baker.
I forgot about that.
There's a long line of Baker blacksmith.
That was like the first joke in this series.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, the ones that become memes are the ones we remember. And we've essentially turned Brad into a meme that we all feel sorry for, but not sorry enough that we won't make fun of him.
Yeah. We have the train dads, Cornelius and Jim, I think were their names.
I think so. Yeah.
Damn it, Jim! I'm a train, not a doctor.
They run the train. They look after Stoker. What with being in train dads. That's basically what they also disappear from the story about halfway through. To be fair, we don't use the train. Well, we do use the train, but we use the train out of the story. It's just a mechanical thing from that point on.
Yeah. They're
We
there by association, but not actually mentioned.
we have the farming village. Mostly also disappeared and were never really heard of again, unless they're covered in goop. We'll get to that.
Courtesy of Schrodinger.
Yeah, courtesy of Schrodinger. Again, maybe it's best that we never know what happens to them because it's Schrodinger. That's part
Schrodinger's goop.
of his appeal. Yes, we have the people who remained in that town. Who I did write down their names. I think it was like Gooseberry or something.
That sounds right, but I'm not sure.
Cecilia Gooseberry and her aardvark familiar Lucy Goosey.
Okay.
Don't worry about it.
You can see we were taking this very seriously.
Absolutely
We
seriously.
were funny.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Avery, who was the young child, the 10-year-old manager of the factory.
Yeah.
And his canary familiar, Don.
I forgot it was named Don.
Okay. Don Johnson.
Don.
The Don.
More who go in that list, but I do not remember them. I'm just going to move on to the next list.
I liked Avery. Avery was a fun idea of a character. It's like
They were
sort of
a grumpy 40-year-old in a child's body, if I
yeah.
remember correctly.
It was an extreme parody of like what Victorian factory work did to children. Is essentially the point of it.
Killed them?
Basically, he has accelerated to the point that now he is the middle-aged manager, even though he's 10 years old, because he's probably going to die at 20. Like,
He
the
did
Zebus
wear
Corporation doesn't care much about human welfare, or any other welfare for that matter. That's another thing I think we should develop a little bit, because we touch upon the human rights abuses of the Zebus company, but mostly for the story, it's they bought medicine and dump goop in water. And I feel like we need more. I think we need like more bespoke atrocities. Because most of the atrocities are just done by Poison Nurse or Viv. Viv, not Viv. Ah!
It's fine.
I don't think that's how her name is spelled. Dang it. Terrible.
It's
Terrible with spellings.
It's correct.
It's see,
Okay.
it's fine. Yeah. So we have the Vanishing Town. I still think we need to do something with that. Hippo Cult. Again.
Oh, I just remembered.
It's
Mushroom Elder.
difficult.
Explore that a little bit. Oh yeah, we have the Resistance members, including Freya, who is
So these are like events that you can come across in the game, or are these other groups?
they're parts of the story, yeah. So with lots of story beats. So we meet the people of the farming town / factory town, while we're looking for parts of a broken train, and that's where we meet Jethro, who helps us find bits of the broken train and a toaster in a giant pigeon dragon's nest.
That's
Right.
the sense.
Yeah, 16 symbols. You don't look for sense. It's fine. Yeah, so we have Freya, who is a sentient roll of carpet. She's an engineer who makes toasters better.
Mm.
Again, don't expect this to make sense.
The characters actually.
Why are you
all
phrasing
from those
like that?
wasn't what gets singed.
What else does she do in the story? I don't know. Pretty sure
Didn't
it's
we
just
also pull her out of the fire?
yeah, we did
Yeah.
that, but that's
Like
largely
the
because we needed somebody flammable.
I got very mad about that one.
She's made out of wool. It's fine.
Yeah, it's very tightly compact. She can resist a burn. The Magma City researchers, who were some of the first characters made for the thing before we even began, and arrived 3 streams before the end. Maybe it would be nice. Maybe you can go to Magma City before you have to. You know, these games usually open up into an open world, like 2/3 of the way through. So maybe we can see more of them at some point. It's just we have to meet them at the end. We also have the Mushroom Elder, who is an old mushroom. It's the only thing I redesigned, if I remember correctly. Because
Yeah,
the first,
I didn't like the first one though. The first one was fine.
it was just a moldy mushroom wearing a T-shirt that said yes. And that was just
one that says yes. I thought there was another one that said yes.
was it
I
yeah?
think they
No,
inspired each other.
well, you didn't you made one that said no, right? And I think
yeah.
I think that's why I made the one that said yes.
I made a little mushroom guy who stuck up his middle
Yes.
finger with a T-shirt that just said no.
Yeah. Everyone designed a mushroom friend, and that's what she became up with. And in the category of villains, even though Poison Nurse is straddling party, NPC, and villain, we have Capitalist, the least developed, I think.
Yeah.
Head of a major criminal organization. Basically, she was a mysterious voice on the end of a telephone. Then we met her. Then she went mad because her pig stopped interacting with her. And that's it. That's basically what happened. She has a pet pig.
We No, she has a pig familiar.
A pig familiar,
There's a
which turned
difference.
into a pet pig. Yeah. So I don't,
Technically, yeah.
probably,
There is
yeah.
a theme with villains losing their shit or going to the light side when they're animals.
Cat did not go to the light side.
No, but Viv did.
Cat picked up a piece of metal and started hitting a machine.
Very cat style.
Quite what happened to her
Oh,
after that,
speaking
I
of
don't know.
machines, that's who I forgot over. Another one I forgot over here. Robit.
Oh, Orbit.
Orbit.
It's an orb. They literally
Orbit's
exist.
a robot.
They literally exist to give us a floppy disk. And that is it. Yeah, so Capitalist is head of the Zebus Corporation, who are causing a lot of the nonsense. Some deliberate, some not. To what extent their power is being used by Poisonous for nefarious purposes beyond their understanding is to be determined. We have Viv, who is with the shrimp cultists, but also with the Zebus. There's an overlay.
Yeah,
Um,
like poisoners, I guess.
Yeah.
In between.
Well, Poisonous has got her own thing going on, I think. Probably interacts with the shrimp cultists, but isn't necessarily with them per se. I guess Viv is also not with them. She's just using them for
He uses them.
personal purposes. Do we ever actually meet a shrimp cultist?
I don't think so, no.
No.
I think they're just gone. The
Yeah.
shrimp cultists.
Maybe they're the goop.
Maybe they're
no.
the good.
Shrimp.
Yeah.
Shrimp is a
Shrimp.
giant eldritch horror shrimp monster who is not a raging destructive thing that covets chaos and wreaks havoc. It's just a big old shrimp that doesn't know what it's doing.
Excellent starter.
It's, I think, if I remember correctly, the canvas that I usually have set up for these things is like 2,000 pixels tall. And in the picture that I did of Shrimp, which took up most of the canvas, I drew the party for scale, and they consisted of 3 pixels. So
Yeah.
it is approximately 800 times larger than you.
I think Gil was maybe 4.
Yeah. Gil's...
Yeah,
But
but Gil
that's
is
because
larger
he's
than
very
average.
wide.
Wick was 1 dark pixel and then a light pixel on top. So yeah, you got Shrimp, and we have a potential poisonous teacher who's the corrupting influence behind poisonous. And that is, I guess, the cast.
That's
Looks like they're
everyone I
bastards.
remember, though like I said, I didn't remember everyone's name, so I just did descriptions of some of them.
Yeah, and there are some others, like, the people working in the office in the city who we meet for a scene and stuff like that. It's not... wasn't there a dragon? I think one of them was a dragon.
That's still one of my favorite ideas from this, is just, we've got the heroes trying to save the kidnapped kid, and we've just got this Scooby-Doo shenanigans going in the office, and then the conflict gets resolved by all of them getting kicked out of the office.
Yep. Like, this is workplace.
Yeah.
Gotta take it seriously. The goons are like, we've got work to do
This
in
is
here.
a library.
Oh, Schrodinger. Yes, of course.
Very important.
Is Schrodinger on the list or not? Who knows? How many times can I make that joke?
Be a bigger part of like chaos in middle of the game or something could be quite fun.
Sorry, what? Who?
Schrodinger.
Schrodinger. How would Schrodinger... I like the idea that Schrodinger just turns up wherever there is chaos. But...
Yeah.
So that's a feature him and Onion both have. It's just like, if there's chaos, they are there.
Was Onion made by Schrodinger?
I mean, we found Onion at the factory where we
Yeah.
met Schrodinger, so it's not
But technically,
impossible.
they were all like goop robots. in the
Yeah.
factory.
Well, also people covered in goo. Because we never did
Yeah.
really resolve what happened to them. I'm assuming when we defeated Shrimp, the goop dissipated in some respect. But
Yeah. I
Oh, there
think
could
we
be
said
this
that at the
fun.
time. That like in the final cutscene would have shown that, you know, people got turned back from goop into people and such.
Either that, or it could show these fun monstrosities doing everyday things.
Or
Oh, yeah.
that, yeah.
Yes, it's like it's the end of Shaun of the Dead, where it's not like, oh, we didn't find a cure for the
Yeah.
zombies, but now they're pushing trolleys and stuff. It's great. They're doing basic menial tasks.
And game shows.
I cannot think of a game show that I can incorporate the word goop into, which is a shame.
Wheel of Goop Tune.
There you go.
Goop of Fortune. Why didn't I go with that first?
Yeah.
I'm
Goop on-
unfortunately just thinking of Gwyneth Paltrow.
I would. See, I was trying to find some way to put it in that sounds like. I mean, I could have done goop or no goop, like.
Goop or no goop. Goop brother.
Needs to be a minigame.
Goop brother. No, got nothing. Anyway, so that's we're not getting distracted by game show things.
No, definitely not.
He says, still trying to think of game shows.
Oh yeah, no, I'm thinking.
I don't know game shows. This is the problem. And the game shows that I do know are the crappy British game shows that nobody else knows. So
Total Goop out.
yeah.
I know most of them, but by different names, because most of Danish TV is just copies of British.
That's fair. A lot of British TV is just copies of American. So
I mean, a lot of American game shows is just the 70th season of
Goopity.
this thing.
Family Gooped. Although we call that Family Goop Tunes over here. I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. So, okay, where do we begin? we have this is the cast. Things that need developing. Definitely Bramble. Definitely I was about to say definitely Orbit. Orbit, probably the easiest way to develop Orbit is to just not have it in the story, have someone else do that.
Orbit's so
I
cute
mean,
though.
Oh, it's cute.
I feel like the robot resistance thing was a good idea. We just didn't do much with it.
Yeah.
We
That
had the one joke thing that got the goons out of being goons. And then we had no more real interaction with the robot resistance.
And to be fair, the goons stopping being goons was always going to happen. Like they are too incompetent to remain employed.
Well, and also we turned all of them into memes. So
Yeah.
that means that
Yeah.
we need to keep them around at some point.
All of the characters are memes. It's fine. This is a JRPG.
Your memes be dreams.
We need to solidify these dreams into goop. No, we
We need to solidify the memes into liquid form.
liquid meme. I'm sure you can find that on the internet.
mean-
Don't buy it.
If it started out as a gas, turning it into a liquid means it's more solidified.
Yeah. Dreams are made of plasma.
And right now we're just throwing a lot of hot air into this story.
Ha Boom! Right. Okay, so let's condense this. Where do we begin? I guess
I don't even know, man. I know with a lot of editing, technically best practices with editing is to first start with like an overview editing, make sure it all flows together well, and then do a line by line ish editing in smaller parts. But
in that sense, I think probably the most important thing to work on is the whole Grandma Bonk situation.
yeah.
Because that is the thing at the beginning and that is the thing at the end.
Yeah. So we need to. So really, as far as storyline stuff is concerned, I do love all of our little NPC characters, but our sort of main quote-unquote characters are Mo, Brad, and to a certain extent also Poison Nurse as sort of the opposite end of what's going on with Mo.
As the
So-
antagonist, or as... Sorry, I'm confused.
Wait.
Just what is the role of Poison Nurse as an antagonist?
Yeah, she's sort of the primary villain, I guess, until obviously the cosmic horror turns up.
Schwimp.
Shrimp.
Shrimp.
So everyone else has got sort of like smaller stories that tie into that stuff. So with Gil's mushroom stuff that ties into shrimp stuff, Jethro stuff ties into mostly Zebo stuff. Peridot is shrimp stuff. Bramble seems to be mostly Zebo stuff. Fu is mostly Zebo stuff. Onion is just here to cause chaos, and they're an optional character anyway, so
Yeah.
who knows.
We don't have to develop Onion. Onion's fine. Onion already has
But-
layers.
As far as overarching, like, overall story concerned, our main big stories are with Mo and Poison Nurse as sort of her, like, flip side of the coin thing, and Brad. So those are sort of the two big overarching stories we should focus on. Mo and Poison Nurse as being obviously the biggest, mainly because we're dealing with things on a cosmic god level, and that's obviously going to be bigger. And yes, I see we have a couple of hippos.
Yeah.
Cute little hippos.
I thought I labeled this stream as art. I should probably draw something. Should just change it to just chatting, really. Let's change it to just
I
chatting.
don't know why you didn't.
Because it's just default. You do a draw through thing. I'd put it as art. Just chatting.
It's modern art. The art is the discussion.
Yes. The lost art of conversation. Yeah. So
Okay. So
No.
in order to sort of figure out what's going on with this, we really need to figure out what we want to do with Mo. So Brad, we've got a pretty set idea of. We have a character who's from a hero family, but does not have great experience with heroing and is not fond of any of these shenanigans and wants to avoid it,
Yeah.
but eventually sort of comes into his own and becomes his own hero, quote unquote. So that's sort of the thing with his.
I think
We
Brad
need to
consisted.
figure out what we want to do with Mo's thing. Do we want this to be something where there's a similar sort of pressure, or well, either way, there needs to be some sort of pressure. Otherwise, there's not really
Yeah.
a good reason to belong.
So-
But it's a matter of, is the pressure going to be from the outset? We have this pressure from whatever's going on with the hippo cultists and Mo going, what the heck is going on here?
I think partly. So as I was going through making notes, I forgot we had. So when we first met Poison Nurse in the ruins, we had a fight. We lost because Poison Nurse has poisons. And hallucinations occurred, and Mo had a hallucination of Grandma Bonk, or hallucination in air quotes, whether or not that was actually, Grandma Bonk is a goddess, could actually be her. Who knows? But essentially, in the hallucination, there was a sort of pseudo chastisement of you don't have the luxury to be laying around unconscious, your friends need help. And I think maybe we could probably put something like that in there, of like she has a kind of internal like impetus, like she has to help. That's part of her identity, that she has that is what she does, as it were. And maybe part of her story is discovering that that's not all she has to do. She can she can let other people help and do other things. I don't know where I was going, but when you said like where's that pressure coming from, I feel like there can be a certain element of sort of indoctrinated internal pressure of like she has been trained to be a helper. That's what she does.
Yeah, exaggerating the nurse thing.
Yeah. The story starts with
Okay,
her
that
having
works.
just gone on a journey, not around the world, but certainly quite far, just going around helping people. Like that has been her life right up until we start the story. So I feel like that could be a thing.
Yeah.
Think
Well, then we just need to then. We
it
also
always.
then just from that. Go ahead, Chris.
I was just about to say it always sounds like I know what I'm talking about right up until I have to do the concluding sentence, and the concluding sentence is so stuff, and I just ruin it.
Run
No,
out
that's
of
fine.
I even ruined that by interrupting you.
It's now just a matter of how are we going to tie that into what the heck is going on with Hippo Cult, and how is that clashing with what's going on with Poison Nurse? And I do think part of that clash would be helped out by adding in this other character of some sort of person that Poison Nurse learned from. So again, we've got this dichotomy going on with you have Mo, who learned from Grandma Bonk, and then you have Poison Nurse, who learned from this other questionable entity who might have put them on this wrong path.
Oop. 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 Sorry, you cut out there for me anyway.
Okay. I was just saying that I think I think part of this we do need that extra character in of Poison Nurse's teacher, because again we've got this sort of dichotomy going on between Mo and Poison Nurse, and sort of why they are the way they are. So if Mo's thing is partially because of how she was raised, maybe we've got a similar thing going on with Poison Nurse.
Yeah. Okay. That's cool.
I have a
was
question
she
that is maybe not related at all. But how old are Mo and Brad supposed to be?
That is a very good question.
typical
mean-
age is like 17 or something.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a JRPG. Everyone is 17 unless they're 35 and ancient.
Yeah.
Or unless
Or
they're
8
Stoker
and
and they're
ancient.
10.
Oh, they're a
Although-
poor child.
Or there are
Hilariously enough, I was looking at some of the older Final Fantasy games, and you have more of a range in ages in like Final Fantasy 4 and 5 than you do in some of the newer ones.
Oh yeah, like Yang is like 40 or something. Isn't he?
Yeah, and then there's a couple of characters. There's at least one
He looks like my granddad.
in 4 and one in 5 who have like a granddaughter.
Oh yeah.
Of course, then on the flip side, in 4, I think you have 2 characters who are like 10.
I thought they were younger than that. They are
Yeah,
literal
I was
children.
Yes,
was
literal
just-
children.
just asking because, I mean, we don't have to have an exact age for them, but just, are Mo and Poison Nurse the same age?
They're
Roughly,
older,
probably.
but I don't know if they are.
I would say
Because- Yeah.
roughly. Yeah.
I'm thinking Mo, Brad, and Poison Nurse are all sort of in the young adult category, but in my brain, Mo and Brad are more in the college age young adults, and Poison Nurse is more in the like graduate school young adults.
I don't know what that means.
Has gone out and
Yeah.
done more and is very tired of just everything.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So
Okay. Yeah, that
It's
sounds
Very
right.
much still in graduate school.
Yeah, college and postgraduate. Okay.
we have 4 different types of schooling systems in chat. So could you pick age?
Oh.
Yeah,
So
what is college in America? This is something that's always confusing me. I think our definitions of college are different.
yeah, I think they are. I just remembered that. What you guys call college, we would call high school for the most part.
Oh, okay, right.
What?
Yeah,
We're okay. Then I don't understand what you're saying anymore.
Okay. So in the United States, we have K through 12. kindergarten being about 6th grade, 12th grade being 18-ish.
Okay.
Okay.
And then college/university, which if you are going straight to that from high school is 19-ish or 18, 19-ish to 21, 22-ish.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
And then post-grad and then graduate school, so graduate school is then 2 or 3 years after that, depending on what sort of study you're doing. And then doctoral degrees are for people who are insane.
Hi.
Okay, that's
People in Denmark
different.
don't go
But
to high school.
As someone
I
who
thought
did
school
that,
That's 15.
I agree.
That's so strange.
Yeah, so yeah, in Britain until recently, school stops at 16, and then you do college from 16 to 18, and then university is thereafter.
Yeah.
But they've now
Yes.
introduced a thing where you have to either stay in education until 18 or get an apprenticeship until 18.
Also, yeah. Don't know why.
We have
But
so we have public school up to 18, but depending on the situation, 17 and 18-year-olds can, quote, drop out of high school and do other things, but for the most part, those are odd situations. That's not really standard.
it's a
yeah,
new dropout.
this is all weird.
Mm.
I think
Also-
it's mostly because we don't use the same terms. So because
Yeah,
it's
Yeah.
a
probably.
different language, so I'm just getting very different information.
Yeah,
I think
so
it's
in my head, Mo and Brad have been young adults. So they are adults, but on the younger side. So somewhere in the very late teens or early 20s range. And then Poison Nurse is a bit older than them.
1924, something like that.
Yeah, so Poison Nurse is more in the mid 20s.
Yeah.
That
Stoker
seems right.
is a child. I'm thinking he is 14 at most.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Jethro is a scarecrow.
Because he stunted growth by working at Stoker.
No. Yeah, Jethro is a scarecrow. Now, I don't know whether that means it's surprisingly young or surprisingly old.
I think we talked about this during one of the streams, and we concluded that they were either 2 days old or 200 years old.
Yeah, something like that. Either they've seen
And then
generations
it doesn't
pass.
really matter anyways.
Yeah, that was the 2 years or 200 years, but basically mentally 2 years. Regardless, they have a turnip for a head. It's
I don't know what you expected.
Have you ever done a colored version of Jethro where it's like very pink turnip?
no, I did it with the yellow one, but we can do. I guess other canonical colors are available.
I should think.
Yeah, they're wearing different skins.
Yeah.
Yay!
That, or you just get a paint bucket and dump it on his head, and now you've got a different colored.
So that's how it works.
You
Oh, no.
change most of the party skins by making them wear different clothes, and then for Jethro, it's just you throw paint on him.
What no?
I want to do that now. I want to do like a kind of Final Fantasy V job system where everyone's got different outfits for different jobs, and Jethro's just got lots of paint cans around. Bless.
Yeah, that would be funny. But yeah, so of our party section as far as ages, so Mo Brad, late teens, early 20s, Stoker, preteen, 14 at oldest. Peridot, I'm thinking, is a bit older than Mo, but not by a lot.
Yeah.
Probably around the same age as Poison Nurse.
Yeah, so her and Poison Nurse somewhere in the mid 20s.
She has yet to complete her training.
Who is at the youngest in his 50s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's been around for a while. And Bran and Grigori, I'm thinking mid-30s. If only because it's one of those things, like, clearly they've been doing this for a while, so they quote unquote know what they're doing, but also things are going crazy, so they do not know what they're doing.
Yeah. Grigori
They have been doing this job for a while, but things have been going weird. And they are not prepared to deal with that.
Yeah. I think
And also Gregory is there.
Yeah. Grigori still thinks he knows what he's doing. I think Bran at this point is twigged. That Grigori doesn't know what he's doing.
I'm thinking Jerboa and Mushroom, like, age brackets are different than humans.
I think we agreed that Bramble was like the young one in the family and was sort of taking over from the older warrior, and that's why he was gifted the lizard steed and all that sort of stuff. So young for a Jerboa.
So Jerboa, so Bramble is probably also considered a young adult, quote unquote, for a Jerboa, but what that means, like, year-wise, don't know, not relevant.
Yeah.
Gil is fully grown, but I also think that since Gil is a mushroom, mushroom ages are weird.
Yeah,
it is true.
I'm thinking with mushroom, you are large enough to be seen, you are large enough to be doing stuff around the group.
Oh, now I would love to see a mushroom nursery with just these small bulbs all over the place.
Oh,
that would be adorable.
That's very
and
around the place.
You've moved on to quote unquote adulthood if you've suddenly grown your legs and arms.
They start with like their arms above their heads / bulbs, like children saying, doing the wanna go up thing, and when they're big enough, you can pull them up by their
Oh, that would be funny.
Yeah.
The things we can see when they're going to the mushroom village, because mushrooms are weird.
Like the fact that they just pick up their food, leave it on their head, and it slowly just gets like dissolved into them.
Yeah.
I mean, or just put it under their feet and just like step on it and they eat it.
Yeah.
That'd be very funny.
It's eating time. Stop.
I'm just imagining like two mushroom people coming out of a shop with like a little bakery or something with food they just bought, and then they're like, let's eat, and throw it onto the ground and step on it.
And Brad's just like, what?
What is happening?
I just baked that for you.
Culture differences. Also eating differences. Yeah, there was a fantasy comic I read back in the day, and one of the things in it is the orcs in that universe are herbivores. Like, not vegetarians, they're herbivores. And it's always one of those things like, why do you have the big tusk then? And it's like, have you seen the plant life that grows in their homeland? Here are the vegetables. Like, that's a vegetable? I thought it was the cutting board.
Meat's never on the menu, boys.
Oh.
Sad times.
What about their legs? I don't need those.
At some point, I'm going to watch Lord of the Rings, and I'm going to be disappointed that it's not entirely memes.
You'd be surprised.
It is mostly memes, honestly.
Yeah.
Especially when Gimli's on screen.
Yes, Gimli and Legolas.
Yeah.
You have to toss me.
You'll have to... You'll have to cannon with the jump.
It still only counts as one.
The result of what happens when you take a story that is mostly I don't want to say exposition because it's not really the characters talking. It's mostly lore building and world building, and then going, right, The only dialogue we can have is characters talking. How do we make this make sense? So we can't have like 3 pages of background information on what's going on with this world and this particular king here. We just have to run with it.
That's also going to be my excuse for why nothing in 16 symbols makes sense. Cool. So did we now know roughly the ages of the characters.
Yeah.
So that's an hour. Extrapolating, we'll be here for another 6 months. Right. Okay. So we wanted
might
to
have my degree by then.
Ooh. And then you will be college/high school/university/postgrad age. That's what we've worked out today. Which is somewhere between 10 and 50.
The most convenient age gap.
Yeah. Right. So stuff.
Okay.
We have the
So we bounced the idea of Mo having more of an internal pressure versus Brad's external pressure. Some of that external pressure being by Fu.
Fu is a bad influence, and there was I forgot when we went back when the team party group protags went back to Rosenberg with the medicine that they finally got halfway through the story. Fu and Brad's mum got into an argument. I completely forgot about that. About how, Fu is gently coercing Brad into a life of heroism and adventure. And Brad's mum was like, he wants to be a baker. Leave him alone. I don't think we fleshed that out particularly either, but
Yeah, well, and like I said, that's having to do with Brad's sort of overall overarching thing. He's
honest,
from a family of heroes, but he'd rather do like just community service.
Yeah. And then at the end he realizes that he can do both. That being a hero can be about just helping the community. You do not have to leave destruction in your wake as a hero. Etc. etc. To be fair, like we say, there's a lot of open stories and a lot of things that aren't finished, things that aren't developed properly, and so on and so forth. I'll be honest. Coming into this project, I was expecting absolutely nothing to make sense at all. The fact that we have character arcs that are unfinished is an achievement. The fact that there are character arcs at all. I know I deliberately included a symbol for character development, which I think arrived exactly twice.
Yeah,
that's the other thing. We need more character development symbols thrown in.
That was a problem.
And it always turned up at the worst time.
Yeah. It was always like just after like a very normal like boss battle that didn't really have anything to do with the plot or something like that.
I think the idea of
what
character
happened right when they got on the train?
Oh,
we had a character development moment, and it's like we literally just made up 3 of these characters just now.
Yeah, we had a character development symbol which we turned into Brad gets travel sick. I was just flipping through the early drawings and I was like, why is Brad ill? Oh yeah.
I forgot he had travel sick.
Yeah. Maybe that's part of his arc. He gets over that.
We were doing.
No. Yeah. Once upon a time, this was literally seat of the pants, where it took us a while to actually get a plan. And even then, we couldn't follow it too much.
When your random generator gives us a boss battle and then another boss battle and then a MacGuffin, it's like...
There was only one boss rush, and it was Schrodinger's. I was expecting at least one at the end. And I made it. Bloody random generators, honestly. So, okay. So in terms of theming, basic theming, we have the theming of... I think the strongest theming we have so far is the whole Brad thing, because there are certain events that play themselves out. The interaction with the sort of arguments between Fu and his mother. Does Mrs. Baker have a name?
If she does, I don't remember it, but that's true
No,
for a
I
lot
think
of the
she's
NPCs.
just been Mrs. Baker up until this point.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, so and there's that, and there's obviously the fact that he's going on an adventure that he doesn't necessarily want to, but he feels like he sort of has to. He just originally got dragged on there because Mo needed a hand. He gave Mo a hand carrying bread. No, Mo gave him a hand carrying bread, and now he was going to give her a hand getting some medicine, and then everything happened.
Yeah. Brad never wanted to be there.
No.
That was part of his character.
That is why he went through an entire JRPG story using a rolling pin as a weapon. This was not planned.
Nothing was planned on their behalf.
I feel
Mo
like
didn't have any weapons either.
I feel like that's something worth keeping, to have it as like thematically appropriate. The characters didn't plan this. We didn't plan this. Nobody planned this. It just happened.
Life.
So yeah, I like that. That's strong. But we also need to work out, like I say, we've got this idea that Mo is dealing with a sort of an internalized, I don't want to use the word indoctrinated, but like her upbringing, her training and all that sort of stuff has given her sort of internal expectations that are maybe just a bit too much. And we need to work out how that sort of interplays with like her relationship with Grandma Bonk, and also the interaction with Poison Nurse and her whole deal.
Yeah, and also the hippo cultists, because if we've got Mo sitting here going, I have to do these things, do we want to have somewhere in there that it's like the hippo cultists are sort of taking advantage of that? If we want to make it clearer earlier on that, yes, there's something special with Mo?
Yeah, I forgot about that. We had the portal that turned up and said, oh, you're important, you have the gift of the goddess. And then the next thing that happened with that was we met that character dying in a shrine half the game later. And I can't remember what happened there.
It also might be of interest, especially if we want to do more of these things with the dichotomy between Mo's internal / partially external, if we do this with the hippocult pressures, versus Brad's external pressures, to have more time with the party separate.
We deliberately didn't do that. We deliberately moved.
We also had no idea where everything was going to get pushed in, because at that point it was like, well, we've only got so many things left. This one needs to be the penultimate area. This one needs to be them facing Zebos. So we have to get them back together now. Which is actually why I said on the list, I think it would be useful for us to add 2 or 3 more locations to have some of these plot things happen in. I'm just not 100% sure what those locations should be. I see we've got the leg snail back again.
Yeah, they just popped into my mind.
I mean, one of the...
Oh, excuse me, not leg snail. Troll.
Troll.
It's a troll. Because
Bridge
everything
troll.
in that forest is a troll.
It's a bridge troll, get it right. This was like the first boss.
I love the bridge trolls. They were so stupid.
They just want to play bridge.
Yeah. And most of the party was like, yeah, sure.
Yeah. It's only Mo who actually went, we're looking for a part of a train.
What? No, we're playing bridge.
I like stuff like that. That's more of what I was expecting out of this project, it must be said. Snail bridge trolls who want to play cards. Why not? You might be able to tell why Final Fantasy V is my favourite, because it in no way takes itself seriously. At one point in the game, the main villain is hides as a splinter in someone's finger.
Okay.
It happens. He's a tree. It happens. Spoilers, I guess.
Yeah, 5 is odd.
5's great. one of the main like wise sage character is a turtle who likes pizza.
Because they're wise. They know the strength.
Yes. They just the writers just wanted a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles reference, I think.
I mean, the
It would also explain the
old man
Splinter.
character in the party in that game is also the one that says, "Hey, how about we just steal a pirate ship?"
Yeah, that is one of the
The
first
three
things that
of us
happens
who
in
know
the game.
nothing about sailing because you two are kids who've not gone to sea, and I'm an old man who remembers literally nothing.
Yes, I have amnesia. Let's steal a pirate ship while the pirates are here.
I
Silly
play
game.
that game.
Final Fantasy V is great. It is to the Final Fantasy franchise what like the Saturday morning cartoons are to sort of, spin-offs of film franchises and stuff. It's goofy, it's silly. I think it's mechanically the best. I was playing it today. It's good. It's real good. Anyway,
It's genius.
Yeah, the job system in it is definitely a step up from the job system that they had set up in 3.
yeah.
If only because you can change jobs more easily and you can carry stuff over between jobs.
That's the best bit. Synergies between abilities. So you can get the ability from this class, the ability from this class, and put them together and do cool things.
Though I will say in Tactics, they also took that and extended it a little further. So you can have not just one ability, you can have just all of the things from that class you were in.
I think I like the limitation, but I feel like it would be nice to have at least one more. Just
Yeah.
one ability
Well, I
doesn't
mean,
give you many choices.
Tactics does have a limitation in the sense that it does have job trees. So you have to learn a certain amount of skills from a job in order to go to other higher level jobs. So, for example, for like the Time Mage class, you have to learn so many Black Mage skills before you can become a Time Mage.
Ooh, really? That's interesting.
So, but if you're a Time Mage, you can also now still use all of the Black Mage skills that you have. But you can't use all of the skills from all of your classes. You can use you can use all of the skills from 2 of your classes, and then you get to pick and choose some of the response effects that you keep with it, like countering and whatnot. It's very interesting.
I have an important question regarding Time Mages, and that is, is the uniform of the Time Mage a pointy hat?
Yes.
With stars on it. Because that is the standard in 5, and it's adorable.
Yes, that is how they are in Final Fantasy Tactics.
Wonderful.
Although it's funny because so in Tactics you've also got different races. So you've got the humans and you've got the Banga, who are these lizard people things. You've got Moogles. Yes, you can have Moogles in your party. And then you've got Numu, which are these these small floppy
Hippos.
hippo looking things.
Hippos! We're back on track.
Hippos are everywhere.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so I like... We've got Brad with the external pressure. We've got Mo with the internal pressure. We've got the nobody knows what the heck is going... Hello, Stoker. We've
Stoker's
got
doing
the
all right.
nobody was prepared for this in any way, shape, or form. What do we want to do with the hippo cultist? Because I feel like that got underused.
Yeah.
Both for what's going on with Mo, what's going on with Peridot, and what's going on with the endgame stuff with Shrimp.
Just whenever Shrimp gets mentioned, there's always a delight. It's... Ah, yes, Shrimp.
Yee, Shrimp.
I was trying to think the other day, sort of working out, what would the music sound like for this game and stuff like that. I want to try and make some music. And I was like, what's Shrimp's theme? Like as a final boss theme, what is that?
Gangster's Paradise.
I feel almost like if we keep the idea that Schwimp has no idea what the fuck is going on, isn't like out to get anybody, they're just really big and anything they touch just explodes ridiculousness. I almost feel like the first phase of that fight is like dramatic music bits, and then when Schwimp appears, like we've now got more. It now just sort of gets ridiculous.
Benny Hill theme.
I feel like it should be oddly simple. Like like I said, the first part with all the weird sharp limbs and the goop and all that sort of stuff. That's your typical. That's where the expected final boss theme is. The grand pomposity in action and all that sort of stuff. Prog rock epic. But then when we actually fight Schwimp itself, it's just like oddly simple and slightly weird, slightly creepy. Because you're like, I don't know what's going on anymore. This wasn't what I expected. Giant shrimp that's just sort of not actively fighting us, just sort of curious as to what's going on.
I really like the idea of like when the like shrimp final form of just huge, very scary but also strangely cute shrimp, and then the music just snaps and changes from this very grand orchestra to just this very little simple, almost cutesy tune on a single instrument.
Yeah, it sounds like someone is playing the piano with just 2 fingers because they haven't figured out how to use their entire hand on it yet. Chopsticks, but JRPG.
Yeah. we keep going, right, so we need to sort this out. Anyway, speaking of Schwimp's theme.
It's important.
I mean, you work on what you got ideas for.
Right, so I think the biggest open question mark, at least in my head, is what exactly is Poison Nurse's deal with Mo? I think that really does need specifying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we need a motivation for the villain, right? Sometimes in a JRPG you don't. Sometimes it's just, and then they went mad. Or, and then they're Kefka.
I mean, sometimes sometimes the motivation of the villain is suddenly we have a giant space tree.
It happens. Or you hired an evil clown. This is your fault. What did you expect?
You ruined my birthday party. This clown has ruined everything.
I don't think
is that your two
was really
sentences?
given much of a motivation beyond just he's an
No,
evil clown. What did you expect?
He's the Joker. Like, that's it. That's all you need to know. Kefka is the Joker. Go with it. He has no motivation, and that's kind of what's creepy about him. Is you don't know why he's doing this. He just is.
So sort of like Wick and Onion, where it's just kind of like, why are they doing this? Who knows?
Yeah. And Jethro to an extent, but Jethro isn't evil.
Yeah.
A lot of the characters are why are they doing this? That might just be poor writing, to be honest. So yeah, what is Yeah, what's Poison Nurse's deal? Like, why is... Because the original idea was she was sort of jealous of Mo's gift, right?
Yeah.
But specifically, how does that manifest?
Maybe she was brought up thinking she was entitled to it.
I mean, she was like initially part of like the hippo cult. That's something we established, right?
Right.
So then
Yeah, and then something happened and she left and then got into all of this shrimp nonsense.
So it could be
the question is what happened?
I mean,
what happened to make her leave?
This is gonna be a weird reference, but I watched Kung Fu Panda recently. Uh,
Not the weirdest
um,
reference we've ever had.
but in that, the main villain was like raised by uh, the good kung fu master. He was raised as a good guy, just he was from the day he started training, he was pretty much um trained with the expectation that he would grow up to be this like famous uh warrior of legend, um and felt entitled to that because of that. And then that didn't happen and he turned evil. And that's kind of what's going on in my head right now with Poisoners as well.
Right.
Like she grew up with the belief of like, because of also the people around her saying that she was special and she was training to become the special person in whatever form that may come. But then things changed or people found out about Mo or Grandma Bonk and then suddenly that was all like gone.
Yeah. I like that.
That, yeah, I think we can use that, especially if we sit here and go, okay, we've got the hippo cult who they don't seem to really know what's going on.
No.
Like they seem to have sort of an idea, but for the most part, it doesn't even seem to be like they even know that Grandma Bonk exists.
No.
Like they know that the hippo goddess exists, but they don't seem to know that Grandma Bonk. So
No.
I'm wondering if maybe the hippo cult, because if we're also going with the idea that Mo feels an internal pressure and stuff with the hippo cultists sort of exacerbates that, maybe they've got some weird ideas of just what the hippo goddess is and what's expected of them and those connected to her.
Yeah.
And yeah, maybe Poison Nurse was literally raised in the cult, sort of groomed into the idea of you're going to be this, that, or the other thing, and then things fell through, and maybe that's when we can involve whatever's going on with Poison Nurse's teacher that introduced them into stuff with the Schwimp side of things.
Sorry, just
The shrimp side of things.
there are two messages in chat from actual people. One of them is ChibiNetherlands posted a heart, and the other one is ChibiNetherlands posted a shrimp.
It's important.
It's very important. Yeah, I like that idea. Shrimp.
The shrimp.
But also what you said, yeah. Yeah, no, I like the idea of her being raised in there and sort of being raised with high expectations and being, she has a gift. She's very intelligent with potions and things like that. And maybe she was like a very good healer once upon a time. And hey, if you know what makes you healthy, you know what makes you unhealthy. So you can turn that around.
But she grew up in a temple.
Yeah. So I'm thinking Mo grew up outside the temple. So
Yeah.
I think we sort of established that her and Grandma Bonk lived, like had a home base or whatnot in the same town that Brad grew up in, but they traveled sometimes to different places. But she's had no contact with this hippo cult stuff.
Yeah.
I'm thinking Poison Nurse was literally raised in the temple from as far back as she can remember. Or like really early at least. Maybe not like actual infancy, like old enough that she could like do things. Or maybe it's a Jedi type thing where it's like she had a family and then the shrimp cultists are like trying to find people with potential.
Yeah.
And they found her and took her in.
I mean, I don't know how this fits in with the fact that the idea that her and Grigori and Schrodinger are family. They might be found family, I don't know. But Yeah, we could
It's
you
a
could do
crack.
the could do a Jedi sort of
It's a
thing.
crack idea.
Yeah, could do a sort of, this person has the gift, we'll take them in to the shrine, but maybe she could see the family at Christmases or whatever. They visited, and Grigori and Schrödinger mercilessly mocked her every time.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And then, like I say, the focus was all there. She was told, you have great things, and you have the power of the goddess, and so on and so forth. And then something happens, not sure what, inciting incident, and they go, hang on, the power of the goddess is over there, and they all stop paying attention to her, and yeah, she's like, well, hang on, why am I here then? Why did you take away my childhood?
You ever wonder why we're here? It really is one
Have
of
you
life's
ever
great
had a dream?
mysteries. Oh God, the kid.
Yeah.
Did you ever have a dream that you could, if you wish that what?
I still have no idea what he was trying to say.
No, but when he does finish it, he looks so proud of himself.
Yeah. Got there. Keep trying. I say
I
that.
mean, sometimes you just have to finish the sentence before you can go back and fix everything.
Bless. Yeah, so I imagine, Poison Nurse sort of had that situation and then was like, I don't know, what was her sort of motivation from that point? Like, presumably not to, hunt down and kill the person who took away the attention from me, but, she found this other teacher or something.
Yeah,
I feel like she wasn't like actually going out to find Mo so much as Mo just sort of ended up there because nothing is planned.
Yeah, I think it is not really that she was, actively looking for Mo, but that this teacher that kind of showed up after everyone stopped paying attention to her kind of like saw a vulnerable young person and was like, hey, you know about this shrimp?
What do you know about shrimp?
Maybe not like that, but kind of like seeing a vulnerable young person
Have you ever
who really
heard...
wants to be acknowledged because that's how she grew up. And just taking advantage of that.
And
like,
knowing she is powerful. Like, she's knowledgeable, she's very, she's on the ball.
knowing she has a lot of knowledge and skill and, everything. And then twisting that, getting, presumably maybe even getting her, like, in contact with Zebos eventually. Or maybe she did that on her own. I'm not sure, but, like, twisting kind of the beliefs in her head because of the assumption, like, poisoners has that she needs this attention. And she thinks she deserves this because this is how she grew up. She is special. And then everything goes to shit. And then Mo shows up and Poison Nurse knows who Mo is and is like, you're the one who... I mean, Mo isn't the one that, like, actively took her childhood away, but, like, pretty much it's why she got eventually abandoned.
Yeah, she's symbolic of it at the very least. And it also gives a nice justification for why she is just so mad that Mo has no idea what's happening.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
it's like, yeah, it's I would sorry, sentences are not happening. All of that shit for this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very much like, I went through all of this and you don't even know what's going on. You don't even know who I am.
You don't even know who you are.
Yeah. That pretty much sums it up.
I don't even know who you are. You won't.
Yeah, sorry.
I feel like that can also get introduced early on as well. So when we initially meet Poison Nurse, have some more things there, which is kind of like sort of clear to the player at least that something is going on here. I think that's probably when Poison Nurse figures out, oh, who are like first it's initially like, oh, who are these random people, and then it's like, oh, I know what you are.
Yeah.
You're a nuisance.
I mean, yeah, it's very much like we can drop more hints in like the confrontations between Mo and Poison Nurse. That Poison Nurse absolutely knows what's going on, except for like the ending bit where
Yeah.
Schwimp gets released. But like, she knows what's going on with Mo.
Oh,
and everything.
can we have a bit with like Brad at the end when like when they're running down the building after they've summoned Schwimp, where like Mo goes, "What's happening?" and the Poison Nurse goes, "I don't know what's going on," and Brad goes, "Oh, now you don't know what's going on."
Just like now you know how we feel all the time.
Yeah.
I feel
Not so high and mighty now, are ya?
So
Brad has
petty.
2 modes, which is I don't want to be here and I'm gonna take the mick out of everybody. And I love him for that.
Yeah.
Yeast gods.
So with us having this Poison Nurse teacher person, do we want them to be like an actual character that shows up?
I like the
some
idea
events?
that they are entirely referenced in notes.
Yeah.
And you build up your story through just like reading things
Yeah.
around the lab and around shrines and stuff like that.
I forgot that this is a game and we have notes. I love notes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Notes that people write even when they're becoming zombies.
Yeah.
Who suspiciously still have good
Yep.
handwriting and spelling,
Itchy
Yeah.
tasty.
even though they're becoming zombies.
Yeah, I don't think this teacher has to be like an actual character
Yeah.
like that shows up in the game. I think it's just through notes and through what Poison Nurse might say at some point. Like, obviously, Poison Nurse isn't gonna tell her life story because she isn't that kind of villain.
Yeah.
You got me
But-
monologuing.
If you haven't worked it out by now, I'm not telling you.
Yeah, exactly. Like, she isn't that kind of villain, but like,
So you
she might like
suck.
drop
No.
some hints here and
Yeah.
there of like,
Have you heard the tale of Darth Prawn Lagius the Wise?
Darth Schwampus, the wise.
Oh! Mush Nursery!
It's not a story the developers would
There go the Mushroom Nursery. That is probably very loud.
Yep.
It's adorable though.
yeah.
I imagine that they all make either very high pitched noises or very low, like bass rumbly noises, and there's like no in between.
It's kind
Yeah.
of a rustly sort of. Yeah. Scratchy.
That's cute.
Yeah.
Yeah, I imagine all the mushrooms start as like little mushrooms and then they move from being literal mushroom in the ground to eventually they just sort of pop out with arms and feet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many arms and feet? Who knows? Depends on the mushroom.
Yeah.
Gil
It's
has
a
2
cross.
arms and 3 feet.
Usually a minimum of 3 legs. Usually.
How many feet on the end of those legs? Who knows? Depends on the mushroom. If I remember
God, I'm
correctly, the elder mushroom was just a mushroom. Like didn't have any arms or legs. Just a mushroom.
Yeah, he's gotten sedentary. That's not the word I wanted to use. What's the word I
No,
wanted to use?
No, that works.
Yeah, sedentary in his old
Sedentary.
age. It's
Or
old
are
age.
you confusing sedentary and sedimentary?
I might
He is
be.
not a rock.
Oh, that's so igneous of you.
Ugh.
Um,
Can't believe you just take these puns for granted.
hey, geology puns. Right. I can't remember what the other one is. There's 3 rocks on there: igneous, sedimentary, and the other one doesn't matter.
I believe he's called Dwayne.
Right, Dwayne. Cool. Dwayne the Rock. Can we just appreciate how somebody has managed to cultivate a living out of a tough guy look and a tough guy, act and appearance and all that? And his name is Dwayne Johnson. Like, that is not the toughest name, is it?
And his tough look is an eyebrow.
Yeah, he's tough. He's done fantastically well on it. I don't wish him ill at all. It's just his name is Dwayne.
That's
And
why
I wish him the sniffles because I want to hear what he sounds like with a cold.
I think The Rock was like his wrestling name as well.
Yeah.
He just kept it.
Yeah.
See, when I think of Dwayne, I think of this.
Well, he's tried to not. He's tried to like distance himself from The Rock because he wants to be taken as more like Dwayne Johnson instead of The Rock.
Yeah.
But he will be forever known as Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
His middle name is also Douglas, which doesn't help.
Dwayne Douglas.
Yeah, Dwayne Douglas Johnson.
Oh, Dwayne.
Also known as his
Dougie
ring
Johns.
name, The Rock.
Yeah. Anyway, good for him. So we were here to talk about wrestling.
Cooking. I can't smell anything.
That's bad. Yes. Okay, I like this. I like this. Poisonous has a story. That's handy. Our primary villain has a story. That interacts with the characters. So
I feel like this also gives us more excuse to do more with the hippo cult. So since now that we've got a better idea of how it relates to poisoners and what they might be doing with Mo, to Mo, ? Trying to get Mo to do. So that's also helpful. Yes, we've also got the horny toad lizard.
yeah, that should have been a sign, you know. You've got a spiky familiar, you're going to turn into a villain. Maybe it was a normal toad, and then it turned into that when she became a villain.
I just like that you've given it like a bandana in front of its face.
Yeah. It never looked right in the drawings. Turns out something with that many spikes is quite difficult to have it read well. Especially when it is just a few pixels on top of a hat.
Yeah. You know, as far as like direct antagonists go, so we've got Mo versus Poison Nurse, and then we sort of have Brad versus the story as a whole.
Brad versus the plot.
Yeah.
I like that. It's got the
That
opposite of
seems
plot
fair.
immunity, yeah.
Yeah, he's not immune to the plot. He's just very tired of it. He wants nothing to do with this plot.
That's fair. Just like Bram.
There's a reason their names are so similar.
Yeah.
One of the things I do like, I was flipping through the drawings for the story and stuff like that, and I remember we did a little sequence when Mo was absorbed into the parchment in the shrine when we first met Peridot, and she went back in
Figure out
time.
what's going on with that parchment?
Probably, yeah. We should probably connect that with the amulet, right?
Yeah,
probably.
that or throw out the weird sucked into the parchment thing. I like the idea of us having a parchment that gives information. I think we could probably throw out get sucked into parchment in a very literal sense.
But there were a couple of things that were interesting in that, because the Mo got sucked into the parchment, went, as it were, back in time, and saw and met Grandma Bonk, who looked exactly the same back then as she did now, and she didn't recognize Mo, because she hadn't met Mo yet. And I think that's something which you wouldn't get if you were to just read.
But I feel like there's other ways we can implement the stuff like that. It just feels like, okay, we have this scroll, it does this once and then never again.
Well,
Okay.
we could tie it into the whole portal shenanigans we've had up till that point, right?
Possibly, yeah.
Because we also have other unrelated portals that aren't explained. Maybe we can take all of the unrelated portals that aren't explained and explain them together. But either way, sorry. We have that sequence, and then after that, when they're walking towards the Jerboa camp, Mo and Peridot have a chat about it, and Peridot explains, because Mo was taken out of the thing just before everything went down. And Peridot explains what happens. The shrimp god is this malicious, horrible creature who wants to destroy everything, and it came along and just destroyed the entire place and was only saved by the hippo goddess who was good and kind, etc., etc. And I feel like there's a nice sort of parallel that we can have of like building up the expectation of like a very one-sided explanation of this story. But as the story goes along, like right near the end, we start to unravel as like, oh, actually, no, this is just a fight between two unrelated things, neither of which necessarily care about anything. And we just got caught in the crossfire, and one of them likes one of these things, one cult likes another of these things, and it's just who tells you the story. I feel like that's something that we could tie into the ending, where we get Grandma Bonk like not really being the benevolent character that we thought she was, necessarily, and sort of reverting back to her sort of previous primo days. Primo? The primo donna days.
The primo donna.
Primo donna. But yeah, I feel like there's something in that. Because, like I say, that whole thing at the end was rushed. Because we were just like, we're in the last column. We don't know what's happening. Go in the void. Do a thing. Fight shrimp. We're done. But I feel like we could connect that in a sense. This idea of like the way the narrative unfolds depends on who's telling it to you. And that's as far as that thought went.
Like if we can have that in mind through the entirety of the rewrite somehow, I think that would be really good.
Yeah, we can seed the ideas as we go.
Have little hints for the future instead of going, we'll just put that in post. Now we're in post.
We'll fix it. Yeah. We are now in post, and I now hate every time we said we'll fix it in post. Past us.
God damn it, I've been bamboozled by who? Myself.
Damn me.
Damn me.
I mean, to be fair, it's not like we could do a whole lot of planning when we were at the whims and mercy of a randomly generated order of symbols.
Yeah, well, look, we did. I mean, we gave ourselves the best possible shot. I originally envisaged this as we go one symbol at a time. We don't look at the next symbol until we finish this symbol.
We did that for a long time, though.
Yeah. I relaxed it as we went along, but mainly because like we had an idea as to where the story was going at this point, and to force ourselves to avoid that for the sake of the symbol is not necessarily great. So, yeah.
Well, and I mean, considering how many mystical mumbo jumbos we got, it's like, great, what's this one now?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was mostly just like we needed at least 20 minutes to think about mystical mumbo jumbo.
Yeah.
And you were
I
drawing a boss anyways.
That's true, yeah.
I think
The
we
number
got more mystical mumbo jumbos than character development, and I think we also got more bosses than character development.
I would just like to remind you that this is based on the statistical distribution of symbols from the Final Fantasy series, so that's not my fault.
That's me also calling out the Final
Yeah.
Fantasy series.
Yeah. Hang on. Let me see. Let me get the percentages. I think I still have the spreadsheet.
Or at least the ones that I know you have played. Because I know there are some Final Fantasy games that you've not played, but I don't
Yeah.
know how better any of them.
I did 1 through 10, excluding 2. Because I haven't played 2 all the way to the end. So yeah, where are we? The average average mumbo jumbo is 7%, roughly 7% of the stories is mumbo jumbo. Some of them, like Final Fantasy VIII, is pushing 9%, by far the highest. And character growth is 5. So yeah,
Yeah.
we should have gotten more, really. That's not a huge discrepancy.
Yeah. But we didn't. We kind of wasted some of them with travel sickness.
Yeah. Yeah, we got them at the wrong time.
Haha, man, throw up, make funny.
Well, it's just more like, what do we do with this? Well, he's on a train. Has he been on a train before?
Yeah, it was too early in both the story and the draw through to have like anything really meaningful
Yeah.
happen. And that's what
Well,
we
and at
felt
that
like we
point-
needed to do with
And
the thing.
then we didn't
Of
get
the
any
4
of.
characters we had at that point, 2 of which we had made beforehand, 2 of which had been made on the spot.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I'll have you know, we did a little bit more than that. It wasn't just that Brad was travel sick. It was also that Stoker had never seen a frog before. So
Yeah.
it's
Very important.
important stuff.
Frog.
He spent most of his life on a train. He hasn't never seen a frog.
I still do like with Stoker that we did establish sort of sadly and then less sadly that yes indeed Colin is a familiar and is alive question mark.
Yeah, it's not just a piece of coal with a face on it. There's more going on there.
I've never thought
It
about
was affected by the magic
Yeah.
disappearing.
Stoker keeps burning its brethren.
I mean, in the same way that people eat meat,
Yeah.
I guess.
It says we don't usually take our pets to the slaughtering facility.
Well, no, he got his pet from. He saved it from the abattoir. Like, he got a pet cow and saved it from the abattoir. Only this time it's coal, and the abattoir is just a massive fire.
We can spin it wholesome.
You saved
I
Colin.
Plenty of animals eat other animals without thinking about it, so
Yeah,
at least I assume they don't think much about it.
my cat certainly doesn't. She's caught a lot of mice recently, and just loves just playing with them while eating. Like,
Yeah. That's unpleasant.
she's a cold-hearted killer. Also a cold-stomached killer because she doesn't. They don't agree with her. So it's a waste, really.
You know she's supposed to, but her body is like, nah, I'm
Yeah.
used to better things now.
Yeah. This isn't fresh from the packet. What's going on? It's covered in fur. Ugh. It's like, we feed you. You don't have to do this. But yeah, I thought you were going to say that the thing you liked about Stoker is that Stoker does have a name, and Stoker does say his name. It's just every time he says his name, a loud noise happens.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that tidbit.
That is also pretty funny, but no, I still think Colin is my favorite bit because it's like at first it was like, oh, it's so sad he doesn't have a familiar, so he's just got this piece of coal with a face on it, and then it's like, no,
Yeah,
it's alive.
it became a familiar as a consequence. That's how the magic works. It'll never locomote, you know. It can't do anything beyond its original capacity, but
Yeah. It didn't gain any arms or legs.
no.
It's a familiar, not like it's not like Wick.
Yeah.
Not candle golem or coal golem, I guess. Just piece of coal that gains sentience.
Yeah. All it knows is that it's happy to be with Stoker.
Yeah.
Oh, that
Stoker
does
is good,
bring
so
up
he
sort of a
smiles.
question. So Jethro is a scarecrow. So
Yes.
those
Yeah.
have arms and legs. And the robots are robots. They have arms and legs.
Mhm.
Did someone purposely put legs on a candle?
Yes.
Yeah, I think it was that, like, golems, as in, like, creatures made out of, like, clay or wax or something like that, do exist in this world.
Yeah, I think I wrote a thing right at the beginning of this, which is like, you know, wax golems have been known to be a thing for a long time, and they are always a bad idea. And anyone who makes one makes one because they don't think it's a bad idea, and then they will discover that it is a bad idea. So yeah,
Oh, and
Wick
then we
is
have Freya, who's a carpet.
Yeah.
yeah.
I really wanted to live.
Freya made herself. She's a self-made
Yes.
carpet.
Strong,
Says it
independent.
on the tag.
Yeah.
Made
Yeah.
by Freya.
Strong, independent carpet
Yeah.
who doesn't need no weaver.
Yeah. She used to just be a spool of thread.
And the thread started moving.
Yeah. I don't know how that works. we made Freya because we needed some fun little. I think I was trying to design like a cute mascot character. I don't know how I ended up with carpet. But
It was cute.
I like
Smart.
Freya. I think she's a fun design.
Yeah.
Both Fire
And
Freya is a bit iffy.
I think we could probably do more with Freya and Fu as well,
Hmm.
and maybe also robot resistant stuff. Dealing with Brad's side of things, because right
Yeah.
now we've got little bits and pieces of the pressure, but I feel like we could expand upon that more.
I mean,
Yeah.
at one point we had like, cause we got like the world map from Fu at one point as like a MacGuffin,
Yeah.
Yeah, we got.
and then we like talked about like that there would be side missions for Brad to do that had to do with like the resistance and Fu and all that. So that could definitely like
Yeah.
work into that.
We said quite a lot of the time, oh, this could be side content.
Yep.
Yeah.
And as a
because-
consequence, we don't have to write it.
Yeah. Pretty much. I mean, it's kind of like the thing, like, just like with actual, like, in-game dialogue. Like, I'd love to, like, delve deeper into it, but, like, it didn't work with that kind of,
Yeah, the format.
like, the furthest I got with dialogue was me role-playing with Miss in the comments.
Which was amazing. I loved that.
Nonsensical
and
story
then
with
doing all of the also doing all of the incorrect quotes generator stuff. Also
Yeah.
very fun.
That was fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's another thing I think would be worth sort of looking into is Stoker's deal. Because Stoker's deal is gets kidnapped, gets rescued, helps Brad, gives Brad a little pep talk, plays baseball with Grigori.
Get that and get Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah, it's like Stoker doesn't really have a thing per se. They're just there. They are. They're kind of a MacGuffin, and I feel like they
Also-
need something else.
A perpetual damsel in distress.
Yeah, they got a bit of that kind of rescue the princess thing going on.
I mean, They are a child.
They are a child, but they
Yes.
are also seemingly quite motivated to sort of help.
Yeah.
And, you know, are they just a tag along for the team, or do they actually have something they want to do? What's their sort of...
I think that might also help because we've got the train dads and the conductor who, again, we
Yeah.
have NPCs and we don't use them for anything.
Yeah, do you remember Sir Steamsworth?
Yeah.
I drew him once, I liked his design, never saw him again.
I feel like because if we've got Stoker's stuff sort of intertwined with Brad's whole thing,
Yeah.
maybe we can have something with the train dads and Sir Steamsworth sort of interacting with what's going on with the Resistance, and then also the Robot Rebellion, because those two things are sort of intertwined as well.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the point. The Resistance and the Robot Rebellion never really did anything together, did they? You would have thought that would have been ideal.
Yeah.
The Resistance would have jumped on that.
Well, I mean, it doesn't help that we saw the Robot Rebellion. The first time we saw, like, the actual Robot Rebellion members is right before they all just sort of fell over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hang on, what was the did we back in the city Russum? Oh, that's annoying. The we went when we went back to the city was to get the medicine. And then the next time we went back was right near the end. So that means that the Robot Rebellion started after we went back. So we would have to have another reason to go back. I mean, we could have cutscenes, you know. We don't need... We could always cut away. I feel like most of the Goons' situation is going to be dealt largely in terms of just cutaways.
Yeah.
They just
Some
have their
of
own...
them for just gags.
Yeah,
like the phone booth.
Yeah, the phone booth, that kind of thing, you know? They're good gag
Have
values.
their own silly theme tune and show up
Yeah.
every once in a while.
Oh, I tried to write that once, didn't I? That didn't go well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like there's a lot you can do with the Goons, and a lot you probably should do with the Goons, but they are largely, I think, comic relief.
Yeah.
In an otherwise very serious story.
Definitely. So serious.
So serious.
So we would need like a general reason for things happening other than this.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like we've just got a lot of disparate ideas, and they can connect. We just need to connect them. So, like you say, I feel like to in my head, Brad and Stoker are part of the same sort of thing, the same sort of part of this story. And Stoker
That
sort of
feels
helps
right.
Brad, and you know, having a more sort of innocent, childish view on sort of everything that's going on can help Brad's sort of disillusionment with everything, and maybe Brad can help Stoker sort of see the world a little, I don't know, a little less fantastically. I don't know, maybe a little more fantastically. You can show him
both at the same time. Like, yeah, heroes do exist. My mom was one. But also, getting kidnapped by a guy isn't a good thing.
Yeah.
I find it funny that it's like, oh, see the world more fantastically or less fantastically, and we literally have a picture of Stoker here as a time mage.
Yeah.
with a magical shovel.
He can control time.
Nothing is better than a shovel.
Yeah.
I actually drew a spade, so that's off-brand.
Shovel, spade.
They're different.
They are
It's
different.
fine.
Shovel is used to contain more stuff so that you can shovel it, and a spade is used to dig through things.
Like skulls.
Yes. I'm sure Stoker does that a lot.
I've got this shovel.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm sort of sitting here going, a spade is used to dig through things. What do you think a shovel is used for?
It's
More
used.
for moving stuff.
Yeah, it's used to. If you have a pile of dirt and you need to move it into that bucket over there,
Yeah.
Shovel.
Because it's got the kind of angular edges.
Yeah, it's
to
just more.
create more of a.
A spade is
more
for
of a-
piercing, and a shovel is for. I just want to keep
Used
saying
to
shoveling, but
feel
that doesn't
very
help.
stuck in the ground and
Yeah,
wonder
I was about to
what the
say,
shovel is
like,
for.
It's used to
I
transfer
suspect
things
this
from
might
one place to another.
I suspect this might be another case of slightly different use of word because unless the shovel you're using is like a snow shovel, we also use shovels for digging through things.
Well, you can. It's just a spade is specifically designed to pierce. You know.
I think most people just have the shovel, though.
Once upon a time, they just had shovels, but then when they invented the spade, it was groundbreaking.
And then everyone
How
got their
dare you.
names wrong.
Literally. Oh.
Sorry. Anyway, it reminds me to not let Lewis become an archaeologist. It's just, I have a shovel. Let's break some skulls. No,
Shovel!
it's the opposite of what we want to do.
Mostly because I've been playing a lot of Battlefield 1.
Do you have
Who
shovels
is
in there?
this Indiana Jones?
I just run around. I do spend a lot of my time just running around swinging a shovel in Battlefield. Just like, ah!
It belongs in a museum. Nope. Donk.
It belongs in your skull, donk.
Got that
To
scene
be
from Indiana
fair-
Jones with it spinning the swords around and pulling out the pistol, but instead of a pistol, you just throw a trowel at his face.
Oh, another fantastic game for specifically shovels.
Always good to hear.
Far Cry 5.
Okay.
You can level your character up to hold up to 25 shovels.
What is this, General Grievous?
And you can use them as like basically javelins. And they one-shot most enemies in the game, so you can just run around throwing shovels as a primary weapon.
We've ascertained this. A spade would be better.
I
Far Cry
suspect
5 developers,
in
get it
this
together.
case, the shovel is what you would call a spade, because I'm assuming the difference for you guys is whether there's a point at the end.
Yeah, it's like the suit of cards, a spade. It's pointy. Shovel is usually flat and rounded at the sides. Rounded up, so it can carry more.
Yeah, but most of the shovels that I'm aware of that are for dealing with, like, again, unless it's a snow shovel, it's also got a point at the end. It's
Yeah, no,
not like
there are
a knife
metal. It's Stoker would be disappointed with us for having this argument.
Anyway, let's move away from the argument of whether shovel or spades. Because
It's a
it's all
spork.
English terminology anyway.
Yeah, exactly. You say tomato, I say spork. It's fine. Cool. Right. So I think this is we've okay.
Yes.
Adding Poison Nurse's backstory coheres a lot more together now, I think. Because we now have something for the hippo cult to do and to have done. We can all I guess maybe we could combine that with sort of Peridot's thing, because Peridot was also pseudo abandoned. Just sort of left there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
a
think
mannequin.
Peridot actually knows a lot of what the hippo cult is like actually up to in other places, and I also don't think she was raised in the same area where Poison Nurse was,
No.
or even
No.
has been in the hippo cult for as long.
No, Peridot is still trying to do the exams.
She passed the exams, excuse you.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, Peridot. I also think Peridot is another character who could probably, particularly given that she has an involvement with the whole cult thing, she can have some sort of character arc going through. Maybe she's going to have her sort of faith shaken a little bit, her perspective on this. Again, like if our first interaction with this whole shrimp god versus hippo god thing is told to us through the eyes of somebody who has been told that the hippo goddess is the best thing ever and loves everybody, then perhaps discovering that her god is a person and isn't very nice might not be great. I feel like that's something maybe we could work with. But at the same time, like, you know, Peridot isn't. I don't get the impression that Peridot is necessarily wholly devout and, you know, she's got her own thing going on.
Still.
She's a strong, independent shin kicker. Like,
Who has passed her exams. Thank you very much. In shin kicking, I passed my exams. That's all you need to know.
Like I said, I've done enough. So, yeah. So I feel like Peridot, think could be a fun character. That was another underdeveloped situation because, like, some of the characters don't need to be. I don't think Jethro needs to be developed. You know, I feel like you could do more with Gil, with discovering the mushroom place is, you know, all the energy's being sapped from it and all that sort of stuff. And also the fact that, like, Gil has... Didn't we come up with this idea that, like, Gil found out about that this was happening in the mushroom place. People's mushrooms were stopping moving and so on and so forth. And so he sort of took up a job as a courier to try and travel around to find an explanation for this.
Yeah, we did talk about that, yeah.
So maybe that could be developed a little bit.
It's either he became a mail deliverer, a mail carrier to help figure stuff out, or he's a mail carrier and it's like, okay, well, weird things are going on. I'm traveling anyway. Let me help look for an answer. Oh, look.
Yeah.
I found an answer. Oh, look, they're doing something weird. I'm going to leave. Oh, look, weird things are happening. Guess I'm going back.
Yeah, that was the best bit. But he just walked away. He was like, no, this is wrong. No, nothing's happening. And then all of a sudden, the factory explodes into goop. He's like, oh, no, I was wrong. I'm coming back.
Joining up again.
That was wonderful. He just walks off into the distance and then walks back. He's like, he just sat out a boss fight. That's all that happened.
Yeah, pretty much.
But yeah, I feel like that's something worth sort of... But like I say, not every character I think needs development. I think Peridot, there's definitely something we can do there. Jethro is Jethro.
Yeah,
self-explanatory, really.
Fu will get more developed as we figure out what's going on with Brad.
Yeah.
Again, there's that intertwined thing of... So Stoker is sort of Brad's shoulder angel, and Fu is sort of the shoulder devil in a sense here.
Yeah. Definitely.
And Onion doesn't really need to be developed. Onion is just a menace.
Onion, that's the spin-off. Yeah. That's fine.
Yeah, Onion and Wick as roommates.
It's
that
16
apartment
symbols.
Complex.
Part 2. Gregori's apartment.
I think of those, most of the stuff where it's like we need to develop this character more, it's sort of an interactive development thing. So Mo and Peridot's stuff is mixed together.
Yeah.
Technically, also some of Gil's stuff is mixed with that, if only because it's a result of everything happening.
Yeah.
Brad, Stoker, and Fu are all mixed together. It's mostly Bramble.
Yeah, Bramble is just
like,
on...
Where do you go?
Yeah, it doesn't really interact with the story anywhere. That's probably the biggest sort of open thing.
Yeah, so we either need to figure out what Bramble's deal is, or we need to throw Bramble out as a party member.
No, I think we can come up with a deal. We just need to work out what it is.
Yeah.
Or you know,
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
There are some party members where it's like, okay, they don't do anything, but that's fine. But I feel like Bramble isn't enough of a joke character to just leave them there and say it's fine.
We had good intentions. Thank you for coming along. Hopefully any of this made sense.
It has been a lot of smiling and nodding, but
understood. At least they were smiling.
And discussions about shovels.
Yeah.
I'm always excited for a good shovel talk. That's the name of my next band, by the way, Shovel Talk.
Nice. I thought that was your chat show where if the host or if your guest is too boring, you just hit them with a shovel.
It's a podcast
Their
idea.
chair is just on a giant shovel and you just flip it back. Just go, oh.
That's Graham Norton.
Yeah, that is. Yeah. Not usually with the guests, but.
Ta-ta for now, friends.
Yes. Ta-ta.
Thank you very much for having me.
Bye.
Bye.
Yes. So we need to work out what part of the existing story Bramble interacts with, or come up with an entirely new part of the story that interacts with existing parts of the story. I feel like we essentially have like three major story components. There is overlap. There's the big magic one with the gods and the magic and the poison nurse and all that sort of stuff. We've got Zibba's business, horrible pollution, so on and so forth, and then we have hero, crisis of identity, etc., which can tie into obviously the Zebos thing of taking that down, resistance, etc. Of those three themes, we have about half of one of them intact. We should probably work out how each of those interact with everything else, but
yeah.
I feel like,
I mean, at least there's like a sensible connection between these three instead of just, oh, we're trying to stop this guy from taking over countries and now we're going to the moon.
yes. Yeah.
yeah.
What was that, Jimmy?
Because we were talking about Bramble earlier, I feel like Bramble could, like, at this moment, Bramble has a connection with all three of these themes, kind of, but we never fully committed to any one of those, and that's why Bramble feels like the weakest link at the moment. Because we did, like, Bramble, we met them through, like, a combination of, like, the magic seahorse thing, but also, which was a result of, like, the whole magic shrimp thing, but also, like, their village Zebo's shenanigans were going on.
It was
but
caused
also
by...
they have, like, the thing of, like, they take over, like, the mantle from, like, one of the warriors before them, or whatever they were.
Yeah, so you got the hero thing there as well.
Yeah, which feels very in tune with, like, Brad's side of the story. Like, there are setups for every one of those, we just never committed to any of them.
Good point. Yeah, because the seahorse shenanigans was sort of like, I think that was when we started introducing this sort of pollution parable thing of like, oh, Zebos is dumping this toxic sludge that it doesn't know what it is into the ocean, and it turns out that it's something to do with Shrimp God. But that's what's causing the monsters, and etc. etc. Whether that's the catalyst as to why Bramble joins us is as yet unknown. But yeah, I like the idea. I do like the idea of connecting it to Brad's story now that you mentioned that, because I'll admit, didn't think about that. I'm not great at noticing these things, and as a consequence, not really the person who should be helming these story writing things.
That's why you have us.
Yeah. It's always better when it's not just me, because I'm awful.
I mean, this is why most good writers have an editor. But in order to be a good editor, you have to sort of have an idea of where the writer is wanting to put the story. Because otherwise, then you're just taking someone's work and then just sticking it into whatever you think it should look like.
Yeah.
Also why a lot of larger projects like games have a writing team.
Unless you're Tetsuya Nomura.
Yeah.
And you're like, I can write Kingdom Hearts, it's fine.
Yeah, and we all know what happens in Kingdom Hearts.
Makes perfect sense. Don't worry about it. So yeah. So what is like my I guess we could probably neatly split the story into two with regards to magic and heroes of might and magic.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we got the whole magic thing. We got the gods, the cults, Mo, poison nurse, mushrooms, all that, the Fwum, etc. Then on the other side we have Zebos, we have the Resistance, we have Brad, his crisis of identity, and obviously these interlink because Zebos is aiding shrimp shenanigans, shrimpanigans, and so there's definitely overlap. They're not just two separate stories, but I'm trying to work out like where the divide is and how I don't know. Maybe this is just me of like I want them to be fairly equal in standing, and so I don't want like all of the characters go towards one side of this, and then we have Mo and Poison Nurse doing everything else, and stuff like
No,
that.
but I feel like we have like a good set of characters for like the magic cults,
Yeah,
Schwimp, whatever. Because you have Mo and Poisoners who are like the two most important. But then you also have Peridot who is involved. You have Viv who is involved. Gil is involved by proxy because of
yeah,
like the whole thing that's happening at the Mushroom Village. So that kind of feels like a good like cast of characters for like that part of the story.
yeah.
And you have like as NPCs, you have Hippo Goddess, Grandma Bonk, and Schwimp, and also a lot of cultists on either side.
Mm.
um, and then on like Brad's side of the story, you have um Brad versus food to a certain extent, and also like versus Zebos definitely.
Mm. Like there's a certain Brad's sort of crisis of like if this is sort of truly good and evil, but I also don't want to be the supposed good guys. It's like where does that put me, etc., etc. So you can sort of have that
Yeah,
kind of
and like Stoker is more involved in that storyline than with the whole shrimp
yeah,
magic thing.
like that.
Um,
I think Brad and Stoker are sort of a
yeah, they go together. Jethro is kind of like more involved in like the Zebo side, but like
yeah,
not really, and that's fine.
yeah.
Yeah,
Jethro's fine.
Jethro's Jethro. Jethro's main impetus is to work out what's going on with the people from his village, but at the same time, Jethro is Jethro. Like
Yeah. And like I feel there are also like enough like NPCs who are like on like the hero slash Zebos thing, because
mm,
you have the goons and you have Cat Pitilus as the main antagonist, and you also have like the Resistance and the Robot Uprising.
yeah.
Yeah,
But I
both
think
of
it
which
would
we have
like
like two characters for and could easily flesh out more if we decide to do more with the Resistance members and the Robot Revolution.
We
yeah,
could do an entire draw through just of the resistance, to be honest. Like
yeah, probably. But yeah, I think the like it would be good if Bramwell was on like the hero Zebo
yeah,
side more than the magic side, just to like round out like even out the like two two themes a bit more when it comes to like party division.
mm,
So that because of the party you really only have like Stoker and Brad who kind of go together. And Fu as like antagonistic force.
yeah. Well, Fu is all another. I seem to remember Fu also being another optional character.
Yeah.
Um,
Which I don't really agree with anymore because he is very important to like Brad's storyline.
yeah. Okay.
So
So now he's
but he
must have
kind
it.
of goes away after a certain point.
I mean, he gets burnt. So
Yeah, but he goes away before that. He left
okay.
before that.
No, he permanently left the part. Well, so we met him. He joined the party after introducing Brad to like the Resistance headquarters thing. Joined the party, was part of the party, the
Yeah,
second party split, where it was a purposeful split instead of a oh my god, things have happened, the party has been split, and then was removed from the party because he got injured during the fire thing.
I think maybe we just forgot about him because he didn't do anything.
maybe he can say yeah.
Yeah.
He can say an optional character because Brad, you do have to like meet him,
I mean,
and he can be important that way.
he can follow the party without necessarily being a party member.
Yeah,
He can come with us when we go back to Rossenberg and then meet Mrs. Baker and have the argument, and we can have all those scenes. I guess mechanically it doesn't really matter whether he's in the party or not. Whether it's just whether he's following us around. He's got the map.
It can be like in 5 where you can go to the one city, but the one party member is like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna go to the inn and drink, and then just randomly show up if you go and buy items.
Yeah. Good old Faris.
Yeah, because Fu is a optional character, it feels the party at the moment feels more balanced, more towards the magic side.
Yeah.
And then God side, so I think Bramble would be a good addition to even it out a little bit.
Okay, that's cool. So that's our homework, I think, is work out what's going on with Bramble.
Yeah.
How does Bramble interact with the hero story? Is it just purely as a kind of Brad can see Bramble's development in that regard and apply it to himself, or do they directly interact? I don't know. Maybe they can.
I don't know.
Because I also find it funny that we ended up with a Brad, a Bran, and a Bramble.
Brad, Bran, Bramble.
It's
like all of the K's of the NPCs we don't care about in Resident Evil,
yeah.
Except
Kevin, Keenan, Kyle.
Two of these characters were designed by me.
Yeah, this was the other reason I was upset about Bramble. It was I didn't design. If it's a character I make, we can throw the Onion. Who cares? It's Onion, whatever. But Bramble was like, oh, you designed this and it's cool. And it's sort of, it feels unique in this world, and we did nothing with it. Yeah. So I always feel like we should do something with that. Cute.
I like the mushy
distracted
right there in the foreground, who clearly is ready for uppies.
Yeah.
Up.
That is the universal sign for uppies.
There's also one that looks like Mallow from Super Mario RPG. They're cute. And the one on the right is having existential crisis.
A couple of them are, honestly.
One over there swallowed a peanut. Yeah. Okay, so homework. And by homework I mean you get 5 minutes, think about it. Nothing needs to be done. Just come up with ideas. How is Bramble going to interact with the whole hero story situation? And what we'll do is we'll all come up with different stories and not be able to make them work together. Yay! Other things that could be worked on or thought about, worked on. It's not a task. Other things you can think about if you wanna. I do feel like Zebos needs more justification for why they're awful. They're awful, don't get me wrong. I feel like they just need more.
A bit more screen time for Zebos.
Screen time, screen crimes.
I feel like, as far as story beats are concerned, if we do have Bramble in on the hero side of things, sort of overlapping with the Zebos stuff, have at least one more line of events that sort of cements more of what's going on with Zebos and also what's going on with Bramble, if that is indeed a thing we want to do.
Yeah.
Whoops. Now, whether we have that be in a place where we have the entire party or whether we have the party split, because I think when we had the purposeful party split, Bramble was in the magic half of the party.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we could probably change that.
So that means we might need to move her.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Because we moved the rejoining symbol to be earlier. As a consequence, I think we could do more. That's somewhere we could add events. Is with in both parts of the split. I think we could do do a little bit more there. So I think Bramble could probably have some opportunities there. Yeah, so that's the thing. Maybe we meet Orbit earlier as well. Who knows?
That could be useful, because by the time we get to the party split, that's past the point where we've had the robot revolution starting as a joke. Or starting from the joke.
Yeah, so maybe we can do something
if we
there.
did more, had another column with Brad's half of the party.
I think the problem...
Then we could...
The problem was that the rejoin symbol was too... It wasn't that it was too far away, it was that it was too close to the end.
Yeah.
So we brought it forward so that we could have more time.
Adding in another column of events.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the original parties joining up again was the right distance from the splitting parties, but the wrong distance from the end is what I'm hearing.
Yeah. That's just a thing to sort of think about, I guess.
And that could also extend so we had 3 areas with that split. 2 of them were with the magic half of the party, with poison nurses, with the mountain up to poison nurses lab, and then in the weird temple thing, weird abandoned temple. And then we had one with Brad and his half of the party where they went to the Dome City area.
Yes.
So I feel like we could either do more in Dome City or have another column with Brad's half of the party in another city somewhere.
Yeah.
I mean, we did... I think the first thing we saw in Dunior, the second largest city, was we saw the goons and we saw like Gabe with a sign. So we could probably do stuff there. Yeah. Have some sort of interaction. And we got like the clashes between Zebus and the robots and the stuff, and that's why everything was burning down. But yeah.
You could have some law with the Thebos there talking to some not rebels, but there.
You have too many R words.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
Thebos does need more screen time, because I don't really think they need as much of an explanation as to why Zebos is evil, because the answer to that question is just they're a gigantic company.
Yeah.
And, that's just what happens when capitalism...
Yeah. That just happens when the people making the decisions are separated 500 degrees away from the people who are affected by those decisions. That's just...
Yeah. Exactly. It's the same kind of thing as like in the real world that billionaires are like making spacecrafts for space tourism, or like even living off world, and like lots of people are starving in the same country. Like you
Forget
don't
the
really
same
need...
country, same company.
Yeah, same
company.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
like,
people...
You don't really need an explanation for it. You just need a little bit more like history behind it. Like, clearly this company has been existing and has been like maybe not taking away medicine from actively dying people awful, but like it's been generally not great, but it's a company and it's work.
Yeah.
And goop.
And goop. The goop is a new thing. The goop
was a new thing. Or like maybe not that, like maybe it's not that new, but like it was generally seen as waste before, and like they've been dumping that, and now it's actively like being a magical goop.
Yeah.
Well, and the thing is, I mean, it could be that once upon a time Zebos was a fine organization, because you see this sometimes, especially when things get taken over by people who didn't build it. Walmart, way back in the day, when the original maker, the original founder of the company was in charge of it, was well known for taking good care of its workers and giving things like good health benefits for even its part-time staff. And then the dad retired and his sons took over. And now a lot of the people who work at Walmart are on food stamps because Walmart will not pay them well. And also Walmart is getting tax breaks because of food stamp stuff. And it's like, all right, cool.
So what you're saying,
That's your proud father.
what you're saying is that Dog Pitilist, Cat's dad, was really nice. And then it all went horribly wrong.
I'm sorry. Yeah, sorry, continue.
That's it. That's it. That's the end of the thought.
It's
I'm
a
bad
good
I mean, I'm
jokes.
saying it's
though.
potential. And I am
Yeah.
saying dogs are known for being nicer.
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe we can tie that into sort of
Oh
Cat's
my God.
development.
Yeah, and again, like, you don't have to, like, have people talk about it or something,
Oh,
but
yeah.
it could just, like, be built into the, like, world building. Like, someone picks up a newspaper and it's just, like, I don't know, 30 years since Sibo's, probably not 30 years, probably more than that, but, like, it's been existing for so long, or whatever.
Yeah.
Big party. Or it's been so long since cats took over from her father, or whatever.
Hmm.
Just little snippets, like, build
Oh,
into the world building.
I love that there's big, heavy themes and small little parallels and symbolisms, all in their equal might in this story. That's fun to see.
We spend so long on the draw-throughs tearing stories apart. When it comes to writing our own, we have to step up to the plate somehow, We've done
Yeah.
Fool's AU saying, "Oh, you could do more with this, and you could do more with this." Once we write our own, we're like, "Okay, we should probably do more with this."
We're trying really hard.
Yeah,
For something that is like 80% a giant joke. We're trying really hard.
yeah.
I mean, to be fair, as Chris said earlier, considering we did this was all randomized, and we are essentially the Gromit gif of putting the train tracks down as the train is moving forward. The fact that there are themes for us to build off of
Yeah.
is nice.
This was what I was intrigued by of doing this in the first place. It's like, is this going to turn out as just complete nonsense, or are we actually going to make something of it? And turns out both.
Yeah.
We've made something good out of what is complete nonsense. Again, look at the bottom row of doodles.
I do love the loaf.
Yeah, the loaf's great.
Noticed. That's a good loaf.
It's just the loaf of the frogs, and they're mocking the cat in jail.
Loaf is tiny.
Loaf.
Fine.
I'm pretty sure Loaf got smaller as the draw through went on.
He certainly did.
Loaf's character model is just as inconsistent as Brad's.
Yes. They're inversely proportional. As one gets bigger, the other gets smaller.
Yeah, when Brad gets taller, loaf fits in the smaller pocket.
It's a weird optical illusion. Yeah. Okay, that's cool. We have done something. I think. And we've set the foundations for more. We set the foundations to take what was just idea after idea after idea after idea and look back on it and go, okay, these ideas fit together. These ideas fit together. How do we make these ideas go with either of those, etc., etc. We've got a, in my head at least, a slightly clearer idea of how everything fits together.
Yeah, I think so.
I want to make this fun, and I don't want to make it sound like a meeting This is starting to sound like a meeting. Okay, everybody, I think it was been very productive.
I mean, I had more fun during this meeting than the meetings I've had the past 4 weeks at work, so...
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know how many meetings you've been to that have included shovel talks.
True.
Literal shovel talks.
Yeah.
Shovel talk.
I mean...
Have you worked at a warehouse?
I mean, in the last meeting I was at, we watched an 18-minute video that I could have summarized with like 4 sentences. So it's like, okay.
Yay. To be fair, I have mercifully been able to... Almost all of the meetings I've ever been to. I've had to go to like colloquia and seminars, but all the meetings I've done have been one-to-one. And as a consequence, both parties have been interested in what's going on. So I'm quite lucky.
Bring everyone completely down. Most meetings I've been to have been about my future and do I get money?
And the answer is yes, give all the money.
Yay.
Yay. Well, I have a new baseline. If I can be if these streams can be better than that, I'll be happy. Yeah. Cool. I think we'll call it there for the day, and we'll be back on Saturday next week. Rather than Sunday. Like it says on the screen. It says Saturday. It's not Saturday. But it will be next week. Not this time next week. That'll be Sunday. Smooth. I don't know what I'm doing. How do you end these? I ask this every time.
You know, I won't be there next Saturday if we're doing it on Saturday.
Oh, okay. Well, we can move it to another day if anyone prefers. I just wanted to move it to a day that people will find it most convenient.
Yeah, I have RPG next Saturday, so.
Oh, right. Okay.
We'll
Well,
figure it out.
we can talk about it in Discord and all that sort of stuff. Make sure everybody.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't want it to necessarily take up doodle streams if everyone still wants to do that more. We'll talk about it. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, we'll see.
We will see.
Just like with this draw through, nothing is planned.
Yeah, we'll fix that in post.
We'll fix it in post. It's fine.
We'll fix the scheduling of these streams in post. Unfortunately, that post is the next stream. Anyway, yes. Well, one thing we don't have to worry about is that on Tuesday I'll be back with Resident Evil. President Creevil.
President Creevil.
President Creevils. I literally forgot what happened last stream. Oh well. We'll find out. There was a snake. That's about it. And I couldn't tell the difference between a hexagon and a square. That's me. Yeah, thank you everyone thanks for being here. Thanks for chit-chatting. Oh, there are 2 hearts in chat. That's double the hearts that were there before, and my bot did not respond, and that is rude, quite frankly. So I'm going to make it respond.
Probably because I did too.
Yeah.
Boom. There we are. I should
think
have
it only responds if there's 1 heart.
Yeah, I will have it change so that it can respond to multiple. Yay.
Much love for it to handle.
Never too much love. Yeah, so I'll be back with Resident Evil on Tuesday, and then we'll do something like this at some point next week, probably. Yeah, thanks for chit-chatting, thanks for coming up with ideas and doodling cute things and good mushrooms.
It's so fun.
And thanks to Ragdoll for doing all of the writing.
Yeah.
With my messy handwriting and my lack of spelling ability.
It's what this story deserves.
Exactly. I only wrote one thing, and that's Schrödinger.
Yay!
It does stand out.
I put an M in Magma City.
Yeah, and then I kept resizing the text so we could fit things on there, and you had to just keep moving Schrödinger up and up.
Yeah. Thank you very much. I will end the stream now. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.